Where's Roberto? There he is. Thank you, Roberto. Beautiful film. And to lead the conversation, please welcome our friend Julie Ridge. Julie has, I could read her bio here. The accomplishments go on, but is most recently a licensed and clinical social worker for over 25 years and serves children, adolescents, and families, and specifically is our go-to person for mental health film questions. So thank you.
It's an honor to be here with you, and I thank you for bringing us this movie. I wish I had had a chance to see it before tonight. I'm a little verklempt. For those of you that speak Yiddish, you know what that means. Very powerful and very moving. Again, thank you. How did you find Dr. Nise? How did you come upon this story?
Hello. Hello. Good night. I started that why do we do what we do? We never know exactly why some meanings means. I'm sorry about my English, but I will try to answer your question. There are some an objective, straight answer for that. Nise, she founded a daily hospital because she realized that those people, when they went out from the hospital, they came back again because there was nobody to take care of them when they were at home. And then she founded a daily hospital for free for everybody. But this hospital survives with donation. And then those people, they asked me to make a commercial, a short film, to ask people to donate money for them. And then I went there and I fallen in love with this marvelous place. It was, it's a house, and where the people with schizophrenia and the physicians and the nurses and the servers, they dress their clothes, and then you can't distinguish who is who there. And then it's really an amazing place, and it's still there in Rio. But I think there is another reason for that, and this reason is my brother. I have a brother who has a Down syndrome, and he was when I was a child. My parents decided that he should go to an institution, and I was around 8 or 7 or 9 years old. And I think it was very strong for me, and I went there many times to see him, but I lost him. And I think maybe this is not objective, but maybe because of him, I made a lot of films about different people. And sorry, I saw there is an actor here from the film, Cícero.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, please, Cícero, stand up. Levanta aí, por favor. This is Cícero.
You were very convincing.
Yeah. Nice to see you here. And
do you want to finish that thought?
No, I think it's
and that's part of where the
two ways
inspiration.
to answer this question.
Now, the hospital that the movie was based on, was that set in the 40s or the 50s?
Yes, in the 40s.
Okay. And how old is Dr. Is it pronounced Nise?
Nise, yeah.
Nise. How old
she
is
was
she now?
40. Now she died in 99. She was 94 years old when she died. But she was very active until the end. She died in a public hospital, and because she decided to to stay in a public hospital, and she worked until the end. She had to retire, and then when in the 70s, and in the day, just in the first day that she was retired, she took a bus and she went to the hospital and she became a trainee there. And until the end, she was a marvelous person.
Oh, and the footage with her is marvelous. Is that hospital still open, or have they shut it down, or is it giving
No, it's
a
there.
modern care?
It's the same. I shot in the true location, and it's still there. And the conditions are. You saw that it's horrible, but there are a lot of very interesting people who works there, people who worked with her, and I think her spirit still alive, still there. And I just made this film because of these people. They helped me a lot to understand her work, to understand her philosophy of life, and the hospital, they opened all the doors for us, and we spent 2 months there before we start to shoot with the people from the hospital, and some of them, they took part as actors, and then we mixed our main actors with them, and we could live the life of the hospital during 2 months before start to shoot, and then it was fantastic for us. It was a marvelous experience.
Well, visually and spiritually, I mean, it captures everything. I want to ask this in the States, for those of us in mental health and for any of us that have been on a psych ward, we don't use lobotomy anymore, fortunately. And electroshock therapy is actually refined now, and it is still used in some cases. Some of the treatments that she found, she naturally found working with dogs. We work with dogs all the time now. It's marvelous treatment. We do art therapy. There are whole galleries. Fountain House has an entire gallery here of art that's created by people with mental health conditions. Dr. Nise seemed to naturally or accidentally just find treatment methods that were a half a century ahead of her time. Was this just, how did she,
Yeah,
how did she do that?
She went to this place by chance, by occupational therapy. Yeah, she went there just by chance, but when she was there, she started to study, and she studied. She used to study a lot, all the time. She was a very active woman and very interested in the inconscience, to study, and she started, and she made 18 different activities in the hospital. I didn't have money to show all of them. Yeah, our budget was a little tight, but this one was very special, and after she started, she kept all piece of works in the hospital, and she founded a museum over there, and there is inside the hospital a museum with 350,000 pieces of art.
Wow.
It's a place that nobody knows. Nobody goes there, but it's an unbelievable place. And if you have a chance to go to Rio, try to find this place, because it's something really. I think it's really touching, because these pieces of art are something. They became very important arts. These clients, and they changed completely the art in Brazil, because some artists, after Mário Pedrosa and Almir, a lot of artists start to come to the hospital, and they they completely changed the way they used to do work. And then even Almir was the first one he's still alive. He's the only one who is still alive. He's a very famous artist he lives in Hamburg. And a new generation of artists, they start to make a different art in Brazil just because of this marvelous people, this marvelous work that she did.
Well, I think you captured a tremendous amount in a very short film. And you did things that therapists and psychiatrists do now, starting where the client is. When Almir put the canvas in front of the artist and he put a single green dot and then walked away, and then he literally brought the canvas to him where he was. Therapists, that's what we say, start where the client is. So he was doing that quite literally. And her basic, just listen and connect and treat people like human beings, which are the basic tenets of any good care, whether it's medical or psychiatric. I just think it was, I want to open the floor to other questions because, I mean, I have nothing but incredible things to say.
I just will tell a little. She went to prison. She was in the hospital, and then she went to prison because she was accused to be a communist, and she was a communist. And she went, and she spent 2 years in the prison. And this moment in prison was fundamental for her work, because in the prison she realized that the hospital is the same of the prison. And then she was paying attention in the prisoners, and she saw that every prisoner that was without any activity there, this person was dying. And in the prison, she started to treat everybody, to put everybody to do something. And what they did in the prison was take the books, take out the book, take out the pencils and the papers, to put everybody to do anything. And then when she came back just 8 years later, because she was there was an amnesty for her, because she was 8 years out. And during this period, they start to treat the patient through electroshocks and lobotomy. Because of that, it was a surprise for her when she came back to the hospital, and then I just want to do.
Yeah, first I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Incredibly beautiful and moving film. I'm really interested in hearing more about how the film was received in Brazil, especially by mental health activists there. I know last year here, I think at ReelAbilities, there was a film on the Living Museum, which is an art project connected to Creedmoor here. And in many respects, I think the situation today is in some ways worse. We don't have ice pick lobotomies, but we've got chemical ones. And I feel like the introduction of psychoanalysis in young would even be further removed or impossible in today's modern psychiatric facility. So how was this film received by the mental health activists in Brazil, and how do you see it speaking to the current moment in psychiatry?
It was very good, very well received there. And I was helped a lot with these people. Helped me a lot. I studied a lot with them during some years, and I'm traveling for 1.5 years with this film. And this is, yeah, I'm traveling a lot, and I go back to work, but this part is marvelous for me, because to be in touch is also for sure to know many different places inside Brazil and outside Brazil. And I went to many different hospitals. Even here, I went to the Belleville Hospital.
Bellevue? Oh. Bellevue?
Bellevue,
Oh,
yeah.
one of our public, okay.
Yeah,
Which is
and the
different than
screening
private.
there was
Yeah.
amazing. Something really, it's because when you go to this place, you can listen to them, to people who have some mental, I don't know how to call that in English, some different thought, and what they say is straight from the heart. They don't try to organize anything, and then it was something really, it touched me a lot. And I showed it in different hospitals, and it was always marvelous. And the film was very good with the audience in Brazil also. We stayed in just some cinemas, art cinemas, but we spent half a year in the cinemas in Brazil, and we went to a lot of different places, different countries, and well, now in Brazil, as you hear, we have a new president, and the political is changing completely, and especially for the mental problem is completely changing now, because during the last 14 years, they apply exactly the philosophy of Nise in the hospital. They tried to close the psychiatrist hospital for where the people stayed day and night, and they opened a lot of daily hospitals, like exactly the same she did, and now they are starting to open those hospitals again and trying to put everybody there again, and it's a big mess in Brazil now, and we don't know. We are very scary also about our country now.
Since this film was about a period before the advent of many medications that may be used nowadays, I'm just wondering what your impressions are, both of you, of, for example, the artists. Would they today be taking some medications or not taking it, and feeling that the art and the healing that has happened through these kinds of efforts have meant that they no longer need that option or are following that route? And, you know, many of us are in families where, with bipolar or schizophrenia, our relatives have benefited by medications that were not available at that point in time. So I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on that.
May I start with that one? That's something I was thinking about a lot as the movie was going on, and I was particularly impressed with how much better people felt and how well they could relate without any medication at all, through art, through the dogs, through connection, through music, through sculpture, through just being with other people and socializing through dancing. And then I thought, but we have medication now which helps a great many people when it's done properly and responsibly, and we're talking right doses. Personally, I don't think it would diminish any of the creativity. I know so many phenomenal artists who are able to produce even more when they're medicated properly, not too much, not irresponsibly, and their lives are more productive. So I don't think it would have diminished their capacity to create. I think it might have made it possible for more of them to go home, and I think they might have not had to sit in a psychiatric horrible hospital where they were using care that we know now doesn't work for 20 years, and to have their lives completely closed. I'm curious how you feel
I
about
agree
that.
with you.
Okay.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, but the trouble is that to find the doses, the right doses to them, and Nise, she used to say, how do you call this?
The restraints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this.
We had straight jackets.
Yeah,
Fortunately,
straight
yeah.
jackets, chemistry straight jackets.
Oh, well, you,
They
and you
use
had
like that
referred to
to put them
chemicals. Yeah,
to-
chemical restraints. Yeah.
exactly to do anything, just to sleep. It's like that in the hospitals in Brazil. Was like that at the time where my brother was in the institutions. I saw a lot of them like that, like vegetables. And Nise fight, she had big problems all her life with with that, with chemistry. But when you find, I also talked to some psychiatrists who use now electroshocks and some medicines also, and they are very good physicians who use in a right way, and there are others that they apply and they give some too much medicines for them because it's easier.
And I think all of us are very familiar with the gigantic difference between compassionate and responsible care and the 50% of doctors who finished in the bottom half of their classes. I mean, we don't all get good care in any kind of medical care. So proper dose. And her question in the movie was marvelous. How do you determine how much, shock you administer? And he said, from experience, until they pass out. And to a degree, psychiatry was like that. It wasn't considered one of the sciences. I think it's come a long way. I still think we have a long way to go. I know I saw other hands. There's
There's
one
a question
way
up
at
on
the back.
top.
Okay.
If I understood you correctly, I think you said that that hospital is pretty much today the way it was then, just as horrible. And I'm wondering, why did she not have more influence in the way the place was run? I mean, if after 70 years things haven't changed, I have to wonder how much impact she had on the actual institution. Did they just continue to ignore her or to dismiss her?
Yes.
Rather than addressing the conditions that she was concerned about?
I don't know if I understand you, but yes, I don't know, this is Brazil. This is very hard. Just a few people knows her, and but during some time now, we had a government who applied her way of treat her clients. But now it changed again. That part you didn't understand? Yeah. What's exactly your point? Oh, yeah, there is no money for that. They don't care about people. Well, I think I don't know, it's more or less the same you have here, I think so. Those people are not producing anything. It's the opposite. They are just putting check our way of life. And what the government wants, it's everywhere, really everywhere. It's to put they out of the society, because they put in check our life. I don't know if you have had the experience to stay with some people with some disability. They go to some points that you probably thought, but you never have the courage to talk about sometimes. And these people, this hospital was in Brazil and I don't know, I went maybe to 15 or 20 countries, and everywhere, in Russia, in Japan, in Sweden, and everywhere I was, it was used to put away people who think different than the society. And Nise used to say that it's just if they say that you are crazy, maybe you can be crazy. If they accuse you to be out of order, you can be there in the hospital, out of society, because maybe you are dangerous. they are dangerous for the society. But at the same time, it's very curious because I think New York is the city where I can see more strange people.
It's normal to be crazy in New York.
Here, yeah, it's unbelievable because there are a lot, because they are very lonely person here. I love to walk everywhere I go, and I walk a lot, hours and hours, and I love to take pictures and pay attention. That's my life. It's to pay attention. I'm a documentarist, and here is amazing. Here is amazing. It's not. I don't know if it's bad or not. If they are in worse condition than in another cities, but there are a lot of people with some I don't know, something different here.
It's eclectic. Do we have time for one?
We have
more
time for
question?
one last question up there.
Thanks.
Thank you for this wonderful movie. It's so well designed and, and interesting. And I especially love the way you represent her. I mean, she's such an interesting character. And your introduction of her as she stands and pounds on that door just sets us up. And then as she walks down there, straightening her dress and her suit as she waits to get in, and from the very earliest time. But it makes us so curious as to how she came to have this strength. She's alone. She's the only woman in the room. The sex politics of the film are striking in terms of her power and willingness to defy. And I wanted to ask, did you sometimes think about putting in some backstory about her to help us understand how this amazing woman got to be this amazing woman?
Yeah, it took me a long time to write this script, and I wrote it with 7 different people, and her life was so amazing since she was a child until the end of her life. And then the first script, I tried to tell all her story, but I realized that in 2 hours, it's not enough to tell. And then I went to a television in Brazil, and I tried to sell to them a TV series about her life and the hospital and the clients, because I would love to talk about a little bit more about each one, because they are fantastic, and the story of the life of each one. She wrote 10 books about, one of them is about these clients, and it's the name is Unconscious Images. It's a marvelous book, and well, yes, I would love to tell you. And in the end, I was wondering if I should write some sentence about what happened to everybody, but happened so many different things that then I decided to not put anything, and to give you a chance to go to internet, and then you can research, and you can find a lot about her in internet.
Which I think is a mark of a marvelous movie.
Roberto, Julie, thank you both so much. This is really fabulous, a real treat. Folks, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for enjoying. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow night and on Wednesday, closing night. And please help spread the word. Thank you very much. Feedback forms we love to get, so you can fill those out right outside. Thank you very much.